Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. And this week we will be beginning a new series based on some work by Richard Rohr, particularly based on his book Breathing Underwater. Spirituality and the 12 Steps. And essentially what he is doing in this book is drawing to our attention how our addictions and our brokenness can be surrendered to God. And when we do that, we bring healing to ourselves and to the world. And he begins to show us how the gospel principles in the 12 steps can free anyone from addiction. And here we are not only talking about obvious addictions, but the more common but less visible addiction that we all have to sin. And so we begin this morning by looking at the first of the 12 steps. And the first step is written in this way: we admitted we were powerless, that our lives had become unmanageable. Power is at its best in weakness. And we see this as expressed by Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verses 9 to 10. Paul says, "When I am weak, then I am strong." And so it seems that wholeness and holiness are often not available to the powerful, but are only discovered by the humble. Those who ambitiously climb to the top, who wear titles like crowns, once they have reached the very top, tend to find nothing there, an emptiness. They're the same people they were at the bottom, but now they have nowhere else to go. There is no path left to find peace and happiness that they had so fervently sought as they climbed the ladder to the top. You see, it is only failure that leads to a place of understanding ourselves, of being enlightened about who we truly are. Because when we fail, we come to know grace. Grace has to be done to you. Grace has to be done to me. Grace has to be done to us. We cannot and will not seek God until we have found our own deficiencies. We do not look for a larger source until ours has dried up. Until you face something beyond your ability, you will never rely on that which is greater than you. So, no wonder God lets things come our way that we cannot manage. Those of us who have a heroic spirituality, and we all have had, will have this at some time, we try to make use of willpower and determination, and essentially we try to remain in control. We fight to keep control, and when we do that, we become rigid and defended. And we begin to reduce the gospel to mere morality, over which we can be triumphantly superior. The problem is that this position asks nothing of us personally. You see, the ego always insists on the moral high ground. Now Paul says in Romans 7 and verses 11 and 13, he says that Sin takes advantage of commandments to mislead me, and through obeying commandments kills me. You see, it is the ego that must be reined in, and only powerlessness does that. The more we believe we have succeeded, the more the ego inflates. And the more we can blame others for our failures, the more the ego inflates. We have to come to see ourselves for who we are, not because we must repent, but because until we see ourselves for who we truly are, we are unable to see our powerlessness. And it's this realization that we are powerless. This leads to repentance, and this opens us to grace. If we do not do this, if we do not recognize that we are powerless and in need of something bigger than us, then we think we can save ourselves. And when we think we can save ourselves by our determination and by our willpower, we cannot transform our hearts. If we try to change the ego with the ego, we just develop a more disguised ego. And the concerns and worries of the ego are too small and too petty to be transformational. Something bigger, something beyond the ego is transformative. Because the ego is attached to externals. It likes public opinion. It likes image and achievement. It has no understanding of the inner world. It does not understand that spiritual growth comes through powerlessness, through letting go. And the ego does not want to change. In fact, it hates change. As W.H. Auden says, we would rather be ruined than changed. We would rather die in our dread than climb the cross of the present and let our illusions die. And so this week, it is my prayer that we would be able to embrace powerlessness so that we can become open to the gift of grace. Amen.